All right, well, hell and welcome to everybody who's, they're literally doing rock, paper, scissors. I love that. Welcome to everybody who's joining us online and in the virtual space, and welcome to everyone who's here in person to celebrate Samhain with us. My name is Mamba Myra. I'm the owner of Hearth Wisdom Store, and I want to welcome all of the new folks who are joining us for the first time, and welcome everyone who's returning for follow-up rituals. We appreciate you spending and sharing space with us. So I often want to start these rituals with a little bit of education, a little bit of context about what we're doing, so you don't just walk into a ritual and not have any idea what are we doing here tonight. Samhain is a season for honoring our ancestors, honoring our family members, our friends, our familiars, our heroes, people who've passed before us and are now on the other side of the veil in the spirit realm. During this time of year, you'll hear people refer to the veil or the thinning of the veil. For those who had joined the ball at the beginning of this month, it was intentionally named Thinning of the Veil to mark the beginning of this season where the curtain or the barrier that divides our realm between the spirit realm or the ethereal realm starts to get a little bit thinner and allows us to communicate and experience and share energy and space with people who are now in that part of existence, and that energetic existence. I am of the belief that well, it's science. Energy can't be created or destroyed. So you pass on, regardless of what your spiritual belief is, regardless of your pantheon, tradition, spiritual designation, there is the idea of an afterlife in every single one of them. And I think it's rooted in the idea of the fact that energy isn't destroyed. This body, this vessel, this container that moves through this realm is temporary. It will come and go. And when it's time for our bodies to end its journey here, we begin another journey in a different context, in a different realm. And that realm is what is on the other side of the veil, per se. There are a couple of times during the year where the veil is just naturally thinner, where the energies and the convergences allow for almost like that harmonic frequency to get into alignment, that it makes it easier for us to communicate. It makes it easier for us to work with those energies. And it's not just during this season. This is perhaps the longest period of time, kind of begins at the beginning of October and goes all the way to All Hallows Eve, or the night before Samhain. And then it kind of completes its process and its journey after the 1st of November, after Day of the Dead. And so, and a lot of different cultures celebrate death celebrations, celebrations of life, contacting with ancestors during that 30 October to the 1st of November period of time. But we also have a couple other periods that the veil gets a little bit thin. So we have another one that's going to happen at the end of this year, and you may not be as familiar with it, but during Yule, the season of Yule, which starts on the 21st of December this year. And then we have 12 days of Yule, 12 days of liminal space where the veil gets very thin as it goes into the new year. So for those of you who are picking up on a pattern here, the 12 days of Christmas was really rooted in a tradition of the 12 liminal days of Yule when the veil was thin again. So all those ghost stories that we hear about at the holiday time, where they're talking about elves and sprites and ghosts and the other ethereal realms, and they start to collide with us during those periods of time, it's because we have these liminal spaces. And so we have that liminal space at Yule because it lines up with the winter solstice. We also have that liminal space again at the midsummer, at Letha in the middle of June, because that is also another solstice. And at those solstice periods, that's where we find that equilibrium, right? We find that in-between space. Liminal directly means the in-between, or the betwixt. You might hear people refer to that. It's a period of transition. It's a period of in-between space. And we also experience that ourselves at different times. The witching hour, for example. Does anyone know what time the witching hour is? 3 a.m. Yes, 3 to 4 a.m. or so. But we can also experience thinned veils for ourselves. I think the more in tune we get, the more spiritually connected, the more time that we bring ourselves into alignment, allows us to kind of access that veil and to reach past that as needed. And so we can leverage these periods of time where the veil is going to be thin to communicate, receive messages, celebrate and share the energies. I know that my father-in-law tends to show up when the veil gets really thin. He showed up. He also shows up a lot during the Yule time frame, and I can feel his presence, you know, through just feeling his energy around me. Maybe there's symbols or whatnot, or things that I see that kind of pop up throughout that season. And that's when our ancestors, our loved ones join us again, even though we can't touch them because they're not here in the same body anymore, right? So we're going to celebrate that. We're going to celebrate people who've passed and ancestors. So I want you to be thinking about during this ritual, even those who are joining us virtually, I would like for you to be thinking about this as well. Who would you like to get a message from? Because later on in this ritual, I'm going to pull some tarot cards and I'm going to pull a community reading as well for a message, a collective message. And then after the ritual, I'll give you a chance to kind of approach me and we can talk a little bit more about the meaning of that card. But I want you to be thinking about one particular person who's on the other side of the veil, one particular energy. Maybe it's a familiar, maybe it's a guide, maybe it's a family member that you want to honor and that you want to also connect with. And we're going to do a little bit of magic. What does Terry call it? Magic crafts? No, like he teases me about the crafting that we do during these rituals, and was witchcraft. Yeah, he's like, it's witchcrafting. We're doing witchcrafting, you know. So but yeah, and you're gonna need to go look at it. We're on right now, and you're so you're gonna need to figure it out. So we're going to do a little bit of witchcrafting with your kits that you received. For those of you who are virtual, we did create some ancestral candle kits that are available in the store. So selfish plug during the ritual. You know, we've got little kits that if you wanted to recreate some of the magic that we're going to be doing tonight, those are available in the store. And so that you can do this at home a little bit more. Okay. All right, so that gives you a quick overview of kind of what we're working on and why we celebrate this time of the year, this season. And so I want to go ahead and get started in the ritual. Like I said, keep that person in mind. I want you to think about their face, think about the way they made you feel, think about a good memory that you have of them, and try to stay focused on that person because that's who we're going to ask to join us today. Okay, so if you've never actually done a cutting through the veil, we're going to get a chance to do that. Okay, so I want everyone to take kind of a deep breath and get grounded because we have a lot of big energy to kind of work through. So take a couple of deep breaths and stay grounded. The wheel of the year has turned once more, and the new year is once again upon us. As the veil thins, the gateway between this world and the spirit world lifts. And tonight we call out to those who came before us, and tonight we honor our ancestors. All things have their season, and the wheel has turned and brought us full circle. Tonight, we remember our loved ones and ask them to join us once more. Tonight, we know that they are watching over us. Tonight, we celebrate those who are no longer among us. Today, we honor those of our tribe who have gone before us, and every tribe has ancestors. Even if we don't remember or know their names, they were the first and they laid the path before us. We walk in their footsteps, we carry their flame, and we remember. And as such, we bid our ancestors hail and welcome. Oh man, that was wet. Creature of salt, we call upon you to banish all negativity and to be blessed in the name of light and love. So shall it be. Creature of water, we call upon you to wash away all impurities and to bless us in the name of light and love. So shall it be. Okay, those of you in the middle area might get a little bit wet. We'll attempt to not get you absurdly wet. Traditionally, before COVID, we used to pass this bowl around and dip our hands in it as a means of cleansing and purifying ourselves before ritual. We no longer do that. We ask the old gods to purify the circle and those within. So we use incense as a form of smoke cleansing. Before you guys came into ritual today, I burned a lot of incense in here beforehand just to prep the space. But smoke cleansing allows us to also purify any energies that we might have came in with, or energies that came in with us. And for those of you who have been with us before, usually my husband is here to help me with the rituals, but he has work tonight. He was called away this evening. And so there's a lot of the roles that I'm doing double work with for him as well too. But I think this is an excellent example of for people who are solitary practitioners, you know, that you are able to kind of do full practice. I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about our ritual at the same time. Because for those of you who are new and have not done them before, what we're actually doing. By the powers of the old gods, I ask for protection to contain the energies raised within and protect all those who are gathered here. At this time, I'm going to ask you guys to stand up. We're going to call to the quarters. Who is the champion of the water call? Hail to the champion of water. For this ritual, we're going to start in the north with just this direction, and we're going to work our way east all the way around to west. And so as we turn over our right shoulders initially to face in the direction of the quarter. We begin in the north, the direction of the body. Here we honor the ancestors of the body and blood who gave us life. They fought and struggled and survived so that we might live today. They gave us our bodies, our unique DNA. And for all those ancestors who passed these gifts along through their bloodlines, we thank you. We offer you this bread, full of your, for all of you who planted and harvested that your children might live, we bid you hail and welcome. Call to the powers of earth and welcome you to the circle. May you connect to the energies of our ancestors through the ground, the stone, and the bones beneath us. Okay, so now we are going to turn to the east over your right shoulder. Next, we cross to the east, the direction of the mind, of words and speech and thought. Here we honor ancestors of the mind, those whose writings filter down to us. We read about them and their struggles, and we learn from them. Ancestors of the mind are also our teachers who pass on hard-won wisdom, who mentor us in our ambivalent lives. We thank the writers of the words that taught us, the teachers of how to survive our past, and we offer you this mead for your words that we drink in. We call upon the powers of air and welcome you to the circle. May the wind carry your voices and knowledge to our guides to join and stand among us. We bid you hail and welcome. Now we face west. Next, we cross to the west, the direction of the emotions. Here we honor ancestors of the heart, south. I stand corrected. Next, we move to the south, the direction of the spirit and will. Here we honor ancestors of the spirit, those whose deeds we hear about and who inspire us to do great deeds ourselves, or simply for those who will motivate us to keep going. If they could do that, we say, then I can do this. They inspire us to be ourselves and to live our lives the way that we need to. We looked to their courage to find our own, and we are emboldened by the flames of their passion. We thank you, the doer of brave deeds, and for showing us that anything is possible. We offer you this as a symbol of harvest, because our own deeds are the fruit and the passions of our labors. We call upon the powers of fire and welcome you to the circle. May the shining light of inspiration pierce the darkness of the veil that separates the world and the other world. Element of fire, hail and welcome. Now we turn to the west. West it's got some special energy tonight, I guess. Next, we crossed into the west, the direction of the emotions. Here we honor ancestors of the heart, those who weren't related to us by blood, but those who give us nurturing and care anyway. All adoptive parents fall into this category, as do loving step-parents, foster parents, big brothers and sisters, friends who've passed away, who were there when we needed them. This is a place of those who may not have shared blood with us, but who are a shoulder to cry on, a heart that opens up for us, a kind word to pull us through hard times. We offer you this offering of milk. This is the milk of human kindness. We call upon the powers of water and we welcome you to this circle. May the guidance and intuition flow through us unburdened and unchallenged. Element of water, hail and welcome. Okay, at this time, if you could turn back to center. Pull this back just a little. Okay, you can have a seat. Invocation of the god and goddess. The goddess of death and the dead goes by many names in many traditions. Hel, the Morrigan, Kali, Santa Muerte, Hecate. In all of her forms, she is the keeper of the ancestors. Queen of Helheim, mother of darkness, ruler of the underworld, you are welcome here. You who collect us, you who protect us during rest, you who guides us, who have gone quiet, or guide those who've gone quietly down your road before. You have paved the way for our survival. Keep them well, Lady of Death, for they brought our lives for us with blood and sweat, with toil and song, with joy and sorrow, and birth and death. And we are grateful. Feast them in your halls with honor. Dark Mother, ruler of the night, goddess of death and rebirth, hear and behold your child this night as I honor thee in thy realm. I stand humbly before thee, asking for thy blessing and favor. Lift now the veil between the worlds as this time out of time begins, that I may commune with my ancestors as they journey to the summerlands. We bid you hail and welcome. Known by many names, the father of death, Hades, Pluto, Anubis, Lord of shadows, God of life, and bringer of death, you open the gates through which we all must pass. Let our dear ones who have gone before return to us this night to make merry with us. When our time comes, we will enter your realm gladly and unafraid, for we know that when rested and refreshed, we will be among our dear ones. Dark Father, aged consort of the crone, Lord of the underworld, hear and behold your child this night as I honor thee in thy realm. I stand between thee and thy lady, asking for blessings and favor. As this time out of time approaches, stand ever guard as the veil lifts. Keep safe my ancestors and all my loved ones as they journey to the Summerlands. We bid you hail and welcome. With one voice, we call to the other side of the veil to those who have passed before us. We will use the northeast corner as the liminal space to cut through the veil and allow into this protected space the energies of our loved ones. Ancestors, family, loved ones, familiars, those names who were remembered, those who are no longer remembered, those who have no one to remember them, hear us, join us. Let our remembrance of your travel, of you travel fastest, and we ask to sit with us for a while in this safe space. We humbly welcome you. Hail and welcome. We light this candle for those whose names are lost to the mist of time. We light this candle for those who no longer have anyone to speak their names. So at this time, I asked everyone to think about somebody that they wanted to connect with. And what we are going to do is we are going to work on charging your candle. We're going to charge an ancestral candle that you can use in your workings through the season, use on your altar, and that you can have as a tool in the season, that you know kind of maybe how to recreate this. In your boxes, you're going to find a small candle. These candles are our thinning of the veil candles that if you went to the ball, you might have gotten one. For those who are joining us virtually, if you have one of these candles and you don't know what to do with it, this might be an opportunity to understand how to work with one of these candles. The candle is already dressed with herbs and oils. So if you've ever bought a dressed candle before or a fixed candle and you weren't sure how to kind of make it your own or to charge it with intention, that's what we're going to do tonight. So as you hold this candle, I do want you to remove the parchment paper. You can save that for later. Keep the rubber band. Don't let it fly off because you're going to need it. And you may also want to take the label off as well, because you're going to make this a little bit more custom for your use. And so each of you received what was called it's a sigil wheel. It's a card that has all of the letters of the alphabet on it in a circle. And what you're going to do is you're going to create a custom sigil for the person who you want to connect with. Here, Ada, take that. Okay, so how you do that is pick a name. Maybe it's a nickname, maybe it's their first name, maybe it's their full name, depending on how many letters you have that you're working with. And you're going to start with one motion on that wheel and write their name. And you're just going to connect that, and that becomes their sigil. That becomes their amplifier as a representation of who they are. And so what you're going to do is pick a name, draw the sigil out on that card. Okay. Once you've done that, I would like for each of you to then come to the altar that we have up here. On the altar, we have our store Book of the Dead. There's other pages in here from previous years where we have recorded the names of people's loved ones that we've read off in tribute, and we've honored them at previous Samhain celebrations. And so we want to keep doing that each year until the book is full of remembrance and be a book of remembrance for us. You're going to write that person's name in the book, and then please, if it's an interesting pronunciation, please write out how to pronounce it as well. And then you're going to write, or you're going to light one of the candles on the altar for them to welcome them to this space. Okay. So you can do that in whatever order. You can do the sigil and you can do the candle. Just come on up when you're ready. So what you're going to do is it's kind of like a go to the letter. So you start with the first letter and you draw a line to the next letter. Then you draw a line to the next letter. What you're doing is you're connecting and creating a sigil. And what will be interesting is that in the future, you can recreate this as their sigil and use it to either paint on the side of a candle. What I'm going to have you actually do is when you are done doing your sigil, there should be a little vial of ancestor oil in your box. And I want you to anoint the edges of that card. Now you're going to anoint it in a way that is attracting this energy to you. So whenever we anoint paper that is to attract energy towards us, we pull the oil towards us, and then we turn the paper clockwise and we pull the oil back to us again, turn it clockwise, pull the oil towards us is what that is attracting energy. You're pulling that energy. So it's one way of giving your person your energy. You're calling them, you're attracting them to you, and you're bringing them closer to you. You're summoning them in a way. And so use that ancestor oil to pull and anoint that paper. Any questions? Yes. Yes. Can somebody give the pen cup around? I know we got a couple old pens in there. Oh, don't forget to light the candle too. You're bringing them into the space for, so if you've already written the name in the book, please, and Piper, I'll light one for you. Here, actually, I'm going to give it to you. When you're done anointing your paper, the reason why I asked you to keep your rubber band was that I want you to wrap that paper around the candle like the label was. You can have it outwardly facing, inwardly facing, that's your preference. But you're going to secure that paper around the candle. Here's a Sharpie if you're, oh, sorry.
You want me? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I was going to give it to Ada because it looks like you were working on trying to get something to write on the paper. What you can also do with these candles is you can take a printed picture of your ancestor, like print it off on the printer, and then Mod Podge it to the candle. Or you can tape it too. Sometimes the candles will get really hot and it might melt the tape or whatnot. So I use sometimes Mod Podge and do a coat on top of it and a coat, around it to keep it secured to the candle. And those will usually last and are pretty good with the temperature. I don't recommend like glue or like glue sticks or anything because I think that just melts off. And so anytime that you're doing ancestral work or anytime that you're wanting messaging from an ancestor, working with an ancestor, you can dress an ancestor candle to then light as part of your practice, part of your meditation, part of your spiritual seasonal observances. If you're in the shop, sometimes if you look around, you'll see a few candles that are around. Some of them are intentional for energy, but then some are actually up there as ancestral candles as well. Oh, yeah, which one do you want? I'm sorry if it's getting hot. There we go. Yes. Yes, if you're going to use a candle that you want to anoint, so the ancestor oil could be used on like a chime candle, or it could be used on like one of the candles I have in the candle hold, like a taper candle. When we're doing a traction with a candle and you're anointing it, you can either have the candle perpendicular to you and actually pull the oil down the candle towards you. Avoid the wick. Don't put any oil on the wick. Or you can roll the candle towards you and anoint the oil that way as well too. I've seen both are appropriate. So whatever style is more natural to you. And once you've done that, you can go ahead and put your candle away. We won't need it, but I would hold on to it because we're going to be still tapping into some energies. There's some extra little goodies in your box, some herbs. So if you decide to dress another candle, you have some herbs. You can put the herbs in a bath soak, to do meditative. Water is a great conduit for spiritual connections and for spiritual messaging. If you're like me, I get a lot of messages and downloads when I'm in the bath or in the shower. They seem to be really loud in the shower sometimes, so as water's running over. But using that ancestral herbal blend, maybe with some salt and taking a bath in it, can help you to also connect to your ancestors to work with that guides and messaging. It's just so neat and orderly with the candles. They're keeping. While you're waiting, I think, hello, card on the floor. Didn't know when you popped out. This is a great time for you to be listening to what spirit might have to say to you, listening to what your guide might have to say to you. And so being able to have that, quiet space in your mind, because as soon as everyone's names are down, we're going to ask for them to choose your message. Can't see it on camera, but that lit up pretty big. Fireball. Hot message coming your way. So it's been dying to say this apparently to you. These are for the community. That one came out earlier. Yep. When I was shuffling before ritual, that one came out earlier. I ask our ancestors, our loved ones, our guides, our spirits, our familiars, those who've joined us in this circle to provide a message, those who've been named in our book of remembrance, whose candle we've lit, we've asked you here to this space to deliver us the messages that we need to hear. Give us the insight that we perhaps can't see ourselves, the insight that you can see on the other side of the veil. Because on the other side of the veil, all time stretches both behind us and in front of us. And your wisdom is that of true divinity and connectivity. Let these messages carry swiftly to the hearts that they're intended for. The first card that came out was the Knight of Cups. And for me, the Knight of Cups represents that champion of seeing the beauty in the world, the champion who is grateful and can always see the positive energy, see the intention, see the heart of other people, and celebrate that and champion of that for other people. And so with this message, the message I give to the community is to fill your cup with inspiration and fill your cup with love and art and all of the beautiful things that this world has for us, because we only experience it this one time. The second card that came up as a message to our community, the Page of Pentacles. She is grounded but hopeful. She is the energy of financial opportunity, new beginnings, new jobs, new exploration, new businesses, new adventures. And she follows those goals with an unbridled passion of like known success. She believes that she can do it. She believes that she can achieve whatever she puts her heart towards. She is loyal and faithful. And so the message to the community is to pursue life with a level of confidence and groundedness that abundance has been promised to you. The next card that came out was the Seven of Wands. And the Seven of Wands means that we have to hold our boundaries. We have to stand our ground. We have to defend what is right. We have to be the champion of justice, to persevere during trials and troubles. We have to also give a level of protection to those who can't defend themselves and to those who will not hold their own boundaries, and perhaps help them, give them courage and give them strength. So let's be brave with the Seven of Wands with each other. The next card that came out was the Fool. And the Fool is all about new beginnings, which is appropriate given that Samhain is our new year. It's our pagan new year. So we celebrate the turning of the wheel as it comes to its final click, its final turn from last year. We shed off everything that was the year before us, the life that was before us, the version that was before us, and we step newly into a new year, into a new space, hopeful and renewed with fresh energy, with a great adventure, and take a leap of faith that the next year is going to be amazing. The last card that came up was the Hangman. So during this time, as we turn, as we get to the close of the year, we have to do some reflection about all the lessons that we learned. In order to break patterns and cycles, we must learn from those cycles of the past in order to become the next version of ourselves, and to reap the benefits that the Fool brings to us, you know, with that lightheartedness, is that we have to learn from the lessons that were behind us. And a lot of that's going to come from self-reflection. You know, it's very easy to point out all the bad things in the world, all the bad people in the world, all of the bad behaviors that are in the world. But if we don't have the courage to hold that mirror up and look at ourselves first and see what we can do to be a better person in the next day, then we just end up repeating that cycle. We don't want to end up at next Samhain no better than we were here at this last Samhain. So I hope those words resonate with you. I hope the cards that you received resonate with you. If they do not, for some reason, let's talk about it after ritual. Those messages were messages that popped out, I think, for the community with energy. So I appreciate you sharing the time. I will need my cards back, Kai. Don't you put that in your pocket. So safekeeping. But yes, we will get those cards back. We're going to close up our ritual now, and to seal back up our safe space to contain our energies and to close our sacred space here. Today we've remembered, we've mourned, we've celebrated the energy of All Hallows Eve and Samhain. It's time for the dead to depart, while we move on with our lives and we make them proud. Though they are gone, they are not forgotten, and we will let these candles burn as a reminder that we are all just a moment, a flicker of light. Such is the cycle of life and death. May the gates between this world be closed once again, and may the dead depart from this place in peace, knowing that we remember them, that we honor them, that we cherish them. It is through our deeds and our words and our blood that they continue to live on. Hail and farewell. Father of eternal sleep, we are honored by your attendance. You will be with us with each breath that we take, knowing that your arms we shall one day return. Hail and farewell. Mother of death, we are honored by your attendance. You will be with us each breath that we take, knowing that your arms we shall one day return. Hail and farewell. Okay, please stand so we can dismiss the quarters, and we will start in the west. Guardians of the West and elements of water, I thank you for your assistance and protection in this rite. We bid you hail and farewell. Turn to the south. Guardians of South and elements of fire, we thank you for your attendance and protection in this rite. We bid you hail and farewell. Turn to the east. Guardians of the East and elements of air, I thank you for your attendance and protection in this rite. We bid you hail and farewell. Guardians of North and the element of earth, I thank you for your attendance and protection in this rite. We bid you hail and farewell. By the power of the old gods, the ritual is complete. The magic is away. The circle is open but remains unbroken. I appreciate your attendance and patience in this rite, and I will leave you with these 8 final words. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone who's joined us virtually. We will do the raffle drawing in just a second when we get offline. If you have any questions about anything that you experienced with us virtually in this virtual space, feel free to message us at the store. We will be glad to assist you in your own practice and your rights. And with that, I bid you hail and farewell.